This is the unstable SMP, and these are the 9 circles of hell, because Wenbu, Flame and even Lettuce all represent at least one of these layers, from Limbo all the way to Treachery, and the last one might be the craziest out of all. But let's start with the most virtuous, Limbo. Limbo embodies the character of Leeuwark. While he might be misguided, Limbo doesn't mean perfection. It's virtuous while following a false idol, and that idol could be someone such as Lettuce. We are constantly reminded of Leo and Lettuce's alliance, but that doesn't mean he's entirely evil. When Parrot encounters a hacker with Bat, he doesn't hesitate to use its orbital strike cannon, an item that on the server represents a form of unimaginable power, because it's in the server's best interests. While he may be the leader of Bat, they have never once hunted a player that isn't a threat to the server. His intents have never been to harm the server, never been to hurt innocent players. They are simply misguided by the people he trusts, and that's what keeps him in limbo. A state of uncertainty and confusion. He's passionate about doing the right thing, but being passionate about doing the wrong thing gives us lust. And lust represents Wenbu. Lust is to have a strong desire for something, and if Wenbu wants something, he gets it. During the first Farlands arc, Wenbu sacrificed almost everything he had. His safety, his morality, and most importantly, his best friend, all in pursuit of something that might not even exist. That shows us a relentless drive for power, and that wasn't the only time we see that. During the Flame vs Wenbu rivalry, lust, and more specifically drive, plays a pivotal role because until he had no other choice, he never admitted defeat. Sure, he resorted to scummy tactics. Sure, he sacrificed all he had, but even then, he only conceded because he finally understood that Flame doesn't lose. And what you don't want to lose is this bet, because if I hit 10k subscribers before March, I'll make a full Eggchan analysis video, which leads us to our next character, Ash. Ash represents gluttony. Gluttony is to consume to the point of excess, and through the force of the Mafia, he got rid of every ominous vault, every piece of netherite, and most crucially, every player's free will, because through the use of stasis chambers, he derived the server of its resources he never even needed. Having every one of the tens of thousands of players in full netherite armor wasn't just greedy, it was reckless. He could have simply given them diamond armor, but that would have presented the Mafia as weak, and while consuming the server's resources was reckless, it's not unheard of. Many players have taken advantage of the server's resources, such as Jaden Man, who embodies the circle of greed. He built his pirate empire in the Great Sea, essentially taking control of it. And that matters. He claimed control of the entirety, because instead of taking a small part, allowing players to roam freely, he attacked outsiders, and used the Great Sea as a prison for his biggest enemies. A place that not even the law can control was subdued by him. Not only did he control the Great Sea, he betrayed Flame solely for power. Flame saved him from an abandoned civilization, formed a rivalry with Wenbu simply because that was Jaden's biggest enemy, or to use him as a stepping stone in order to resurrect the pirate empire. While that might show his loyalty to his empire, it also shows his greed, because he saw the easiest path to get somewhere and decided to take it, refusing to take into consideration the impacts of that, because he became blindsided by an idea, and that is what greed does to people. But what that did to Flame puts him in the 5th circle, Wrath. Wrath is a form of extreme anger, and Flame is certainly angry, because after betrayal upon betrayal, his anger can be justified. It's the same reason as why he never trusts people. Main, Parrot and Jaden have all betrayed him, and while he has reconciled with them, it still leaves a mark, a form of scar that will never fully heal itself. And that is why he feels the need to constantly prove his worth, because without his title, he is nothing to anyone. His anger isn't because he gets betrayed so frequently, but because he can't find a teammate. He could never fully recover from his previous betrayals, and that's why he chooses violence. To him, it's seen as the solution to a problem, the way to get out of a troubling moment. He knows violence doesn't have to be the answer, but he sticks to what he knows, And that's what makes his training arc so crucial, because it shows he's evolving. Learning to adapt is the only way to beat the law. But then what about the leader of the law, Lettuce K? Lettuce K fits into heresy, because on a server designed to be unstable, he attempts to establish order. And that's what heresy is. A belief that contradicts the normal. Regardless of his intentions, that makes him dangerous. It shows he will stop at nothing to align people with his beliefs, get what he wants, and ultimately act upon those beliefs. And that's what we see happening. Lettuce didn't start an election just to rig it, but because it represents what he thinks. An election creates order, trust, and a belief of his own integrity. But when that goes haywire, we start to see cracks. And those cracks reveal something bigger. A realization that despite his beliefs, he understands that they are beyond optimistic. Because there will always be a Flame, a Wembu, or even someone like Theo. Theo, who fits into the circle of violence. Despite Parrot running from fights, Theo often stays. He doesn't have to. He could very easily run with him, but he chooses not to, because he enjoys fighting. And that's the issue. Violence is the intent to cause harm, and we repeatedly see Theo doing that. Whether it's the law or a candidate in the election, Theo refuses to take the peaceful option. And that's not to say Flame is any better, but that Flame fights for a reason. Theo fights for fun. Those are two massive parallels, because when you can actively choose to leave and make a conscious decision to stay, it changes from self-defense to violence. Flame stays for his reputation, Theo stays for his enjoyment. But someone who stays out of fights is Weefies. While he hasn't been relevant for a while, he is quite literally a fraud, putting him in the 8th circle. Orchestrating the events that Parrot would follow during the arc reveals something sinister, that he could no longer tolerate a lack of control. Weefies had enough of being a pawn. Whether that was by manipulating Ash or finding some sort of leverage, we will never know. But what we do know is that Weefies constantly attempted to manipulate Parrot, and that's the skewed logic. Not only did he fake his death, making Parrot more vulnerable to external forces, but became the sole reason he got kicked out of Bat, preventing Parrot from moving on from his death. And that's what matters the most. Despite Weefies choosing to step away, he could never fully let go. And that's why Parrot still held onto his spyglass, because neither of them could let each other go. And we still see the remnants of that today. Parrot constantly reminds the viewer through one way or another that he lost the one person he trusted the most. Yet the difference between the two is that while Parrot continues to believe good in the server, Weefies got corrupted by it, chasing an amount of control that could never be held forever, leaving us with one final player. Someone that relentlessly strives for control, whether that's through manipulation, deception, or betrayal. All that fits into one category, the circle of treachery, and that character is Spoke. Maybe one of the most erratic players on Unstable, constantly acting without a comprehensible reason, betraying countless relationships and ultimately showing us what the server does to people. Because while Spoke originally attempted to end the cycle of instability, the server at its core has prevented that. We see him every video be essentially corrupted more and more by the server, chasing the nonsensical goal of killing Leo, all because he wanted to defend his own. Ultimately, Spoke, the supposed OG of the server, not only represents the 9th circle, but represents the server itself, showing what it does to people. Because throughout this video, we've seen limbo, lust, gluttony, greed, wrath, heresy, violence, fraud, treachery, but what I didn't tell you is there's one final circle. And that one circle surpasses all of these in its instability. And that is the SMP itself, because every circle not only shows how the players act, but how the server corrupts every one of them. Jadenman, a player who joined with aspirations of starting his pirate empire, became greedy along the way, understanding that without greed would result in his dreams being crushed. Lettuce K, someone who started with the goal of establishing order, manipulated, lied, and caused the death of 1,000 innocent players, each of them with dreams just as big as his own, all to establish a nonsensical system of sacrificial warriors, dying for a cause no more morally righteous than those of Zam or Ash or anyone to come after. But then come the players I haven't mentioned, players like Jamoto P and Parrot, who sought a life of simplicity and nobility, and through that became of a far greater power than any of those who succumbed to the server's will. And with that, thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing. As I said, at 10k subs, I will post a full video based on our Go Eggchan. If there is a video on screen right now, you might enjoy it. If not, thanks for being early. Bye.